Welcome back to the Deep Dive exclusively here on Tech Talk Central. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Nathan. Good to be here.
Today, we're diving into some really interesting source material you sent over, comparing two, well, giants in the headphone world.
That's right. We're looking at the Sennheiser HD660S2 and the Sony MDR-M1 professional reference headphones. High-end, wired, but built quite differently.
Yeah, very different. Our mission today is kind of unpacking those differences, right? Understanding the design thinking behind them.
Exactly. It's about contrasting two philosophies, that intimate, almost emotional listening experience versus pure clinical accuracy for professional work.
Okay, let's get into it. Two paths. Where should we start? Maybe the Sennheiser, the HD660S2. It feels like it comes with a lot of history.
It definitely does. And it's clearly aimed at the audiophile, someone looking for that really relaxed, high-fidelity, sit-down-and-listen kind of session.
And the first big thing is the design itself. It's open back.
Absolutely. That's sort of the foundation for everything else with this headphone.
For listeners maybe not familiar, what does open back actually do for the sound, and what's the catch?
Well, it mainly gives you two things. Comfort, because your ears can breathe, makes long sessions much easier. No fatigue.
Okay. Breathability.
And soundstage.
Right.
Because the sound isn't trapped, it feels more spacious, like the music is happening around you, not just between your ears.
Ah, that out-ahead experience people talk about.
Exactly. The trade-off, though, is isolation. There's basically none. Sound leaks out, sound leaks in.
Right. So definitely not for the commute or a noisy office.
Not at all. These are for quiet environments.
The source material really emphasized the comfort, too, calling the velour ear pads a tactile pleasure. They clearly want you to just sink into the experience.
Yeah. But the really interesting part, especially with this S2 version, is the sound. They didn't just aim for balance. They specifically boosted the feeling.
Feeling, you mean the bass?
Yeah, the sub-bass. They engineered it to literally double the sound pressure at the lowest frequencies.
Double it. Wow. What?
So you can feel it. Feel that lowest piano note, around 27 hertz, or the real kick of a bass drum, 45, 60 hertz. It's adding an emotional weight to the accuracy.
Okay, that's a deliberate choice. How do they actually achieve that technically? What's under the hood?
Well, they use a revised 300 ohm coil, high impedance, and an ultralight aluminum voice coil.
Right, 300 ohms. That immediately flags something. You need a decent amplifier, don't you?
You absolutely do. This isn't something you just plug into your phone and get the best results.
So why go so high impedance? If they're even mentioning gamers or streamers, it seems counterintuitive for ease of use.
That's a great point. It comes down to control, what engineers call damping.
Damping, like stopping the speaker cone from vibrating when it shouldn't.
Exactly. Higher impedance paired with a good amp lets the amplifier control the driver movement much more precisely. Start fast, stop fast.
So cleaner sound, better detail, especially in those fast bass hits they're emphasizing. That's the excellent impulse response the specs mention.
Precisely. They're trading plug-and-play convenience for ultimate sonic control.
Gotcha. And they also mention improved ventilation around the 42mm drivers, vented magnets, all aimed at keeping things clean and distortion-free.
Right. It's all about refining that open-back, controlled sound. Wide frequency response too, 8 hertz to 41.5 kilohertz. German design, made in Ireland. It feels very purposeful.
Okay, so the Sennheiser, open, requires power, built for immersive, emotional listening in a quiet space. Let's pivot. How does the Sony MDR-M1 answer this? It seems like a totally different beast.
Completely different. The name itself tells you, professional reference closed monitor. This is positioned as a tool.
Right, closed monitor. So first, big difference, closed back.
Exactly. And that means isolation. If the Sennheiser is about letting sound breathe, the Sony is about blocking it out.
Which is crucial if you're, say, mixing audio or recording, right? You can't have background noise interfering.
Precisely. Or headphone sound leaking into a microphone. Isolation is paramount in a studio or production environment. It's a core functional requirement.
And the source mentioned collaboration with industry engineers. That gives it some professional credibility, does it?
It does. It suggests the tuning isn't just about sounding good. It's about sounding accurate, according to people who rely on that accuracy for their work, reproducing the creative intent, as they put it.
Okay, accuracy and isolation. What about the sound signature and specs here? How do they pursue that truth?
This is where it gets pretty wild. The frequency range. Sony quotes 5 hertz up to 80 kilohertz.
80 kilohertz. Hold on. Humans can only hear up to maybe 20 kilohertz, right? Why go so high? Is that just marketing?
It sounds like it, but there's a technical reason, especially for pro audio. It's less about hearing 80 kilohertz and more about how accurately the headphones reproduce the frequencies we can hear.
How does that work?
It relays transient response and phase accuracy. Think of a very sharp sound, like a cymbal crash or a snare hit. To reproduce the very beginning of that sound, the attack, perfectly without smearing or timing issues.
You need that high frequency capability.
Exactly. That extended range helps ensure the timing and phase relationships across the audible spectrum are spot on. For mixing, that phase coherence is critical. It's about technical headroom ensuring accuracy within the audible band.
Okay, that makes sense. So the 80 kilohertz is there to make the 5 kilohertz to 20 kilohertz range sound perfectly timed and clean. Clinical precision.
That's the idea. It supports high-resolution audio workflows. And look at the impedance. Totally different story here.
Yeah, 50 ohms. Much lower than the Sennheiser.
Way lower, which means
Much easier to drive. You could plug this into a laptop, an audio interface, maybe even a phone, and get decent volume and performance without needing a big, powerful amp.
exactly. Huge practical advantage for pros who might be working in different locations using portable gear. It's designed for versatility.
And they're lightweight too, apparently, just over 200 grams.
Yeah, very light. Again, thinking about long sessions in the studio, comfort is still key, just achieved differently. Plus, detachable cables, pro connectors. It's built for work.
Okay, so let's try and tie this all together. We've got these two distinct approaches. What are the absolute core differences a listener needs to weigh up?
Right, let's boil it down. First, acoustic structure. Sennheiser is open back. Think wide soundstage, natural feel, but zero noise isolation.
And Sony is closed back. High isolation, essential for recording or noisy places, maybe a slightly less airy soundstage as a result.
Yep. Second, impedance and power. Sennheiser is high impedance, 300 ohms, needs a dedicated amp for best results, less portable, offers potentially finer driver control.
Sony is low impedance, 50 ohms, super easy to drive from almost anything, very portable and practical.
And third, frequency philosophy. Sony pushes the technical boundaries with that huge 5 Hz to 80 kHz range, aiming for ultimate clinical accuracy and phase coherence for high-res audio.
While the Sennheiser, still wide at 8 Hz to 41.5 kHz, puts a special engineering focus on boosting that sub-bass impact, making it more emotionally engaging perhaps rather than purely analytical.
Exactly. It really forces the question back to you, the listener. What kind of listener are you? What's your main use case?
Right. Do you need that pinpoint accuracy and isolation for creating or monitoring audio, possibly on the move? Then the Sony seems like the clear choice. It's a professional tool.
But if you have a dedicated quiet space, you've maybe already got a nice headphone amp, and your priority is just sinking into music, feeling that warmth, that space, that boosted bass emotion.
Then the Sennheiser HD 660S2 is probably calling your name. It's more about the audiophile experience.
The sanctuary versus the studio, like we said at the start.
So there you have it. Two fantastic headphones, but aiming for slightly different targets. One leans into technical fidelity and isolation for the creator.
And the other leans into immersive comfort and emotional impact for the dedicated listener at home. Both valid paths to great sound.
Your choice just really depends on which path aligns with how and where you listen.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to mix an album on the Sennheisers, necessarily, and you might miss some of that open back magic using the Sonys for pure music enjoyment at home. Match the tool to the job.
Absolutely. Well, that was a fascinating comparison.
Always interesting to see different engineering goals play out.
To find the latest prices and deals on either of these headphones, be sure to check out the links in the description below.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive, definitely hit that subscribe button for Tech Talk Central. We do plenty more comparisons and reviews like this.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.